Okay, Chavre, we're gonna get started. Um, it was just wonderful to be in, there's a Yiddish saying, "Wir können nicht tanzen auf zwei Chasanas."
But you did.
But I did, that's right, that's what I wanted to say. And that was so wonderful to be able to be here and there and to observe and to celebrate and to daven also in the shtibel. So all this was
Oh, you
just,
went to also
I went to
Chabad?
Chabad during the day, the morning, because look, by the time they get to say Hanot in Laser Modani, at 10 o'clock in the morning, doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, I davened there, and that was also good. So, Baruch Hashem. So today, so I wanted to show you some things. I have a couple of Chabad calendars for you to take if you want to take one home for you. And I wasn't paying attention. I have here a guide for starting your new incarnation. Teachings on the modern meaning of tshuva, okay? Edited by Netanel Seagull, all kinds of stuff that I've given over to people before. I'm going to pass this around. This is my own copy, and here's one on Yom Kippur Katan. So I'll pass them both around. If you can listen while you're looking, then okay? So today, in Hasidic parlance, you call the day God's Nomen, God's name. And a number of reasons are being given. One is you have been saying for a whole week, HaMelech HaKadosh, HaMelech HaKadosh. Finally, you can say Ha'el HaKadosh. And since this is God's name, instead of God being the king, that's the day when you begin to do that. That is very poshut, this statement. That's to say, if you were a Yidel in the Ukraine and you were asking yourself, let's say about the time, the third generation of the Hasidim, when this kind of stuff was already paid attention to even by simple people, and you would say, Heint is God's Nomen, they would dig it and they would understand why, because you start saying Hakel HaKadosh, and that's enough. According to the teachings about what happens on Yom Kippur and scrapping of the old name, that means that every day a new letter of the name comes down. So today is the day when the Yud comes down, and tomorrow is the Hey, and so on and so forth. And when you add up Yud and Yud Hey and Yud Hey Vav and Yud Hey Vav Hey, it adds up to 72. So you call that Shiur Kaful. No, Shiur Merubah. Shiur Merubah. To say that you have to understand that Atzilut is not singing alone, Atzilut is singing with 2 Brias, with 3 Yetziris, and with 4 Asiyas, So you get the idea of how the choir is set up, yeah? Okay. So then tomorrow will be the coming down of Hay, which is Bina, which as today is Chochmah. Shabbos tomorrow is Bina. It's going to be wonderful Torah reading. Hazinu Hashamayim v'adabera v'tishma ha'aretz imrefi. And there's this wonderful Targum already saying, the Targum Yerushalmi, or Yonasan ben Uziel, is saying that Moshe Rabbeinu was saying Hazinu Hashamayim v'adaber v'tishma ha'aretz imrefi. And Yeshayahu was saying Shimu Shamayim v'hazini eretz, and he turned the thing around. So why did they change the way? So he says, because Moshe Rabbeinu was closer to heaven, and therefore he says Hazinu Shamayim v'tishma ha'aretz imrefi, like this. He's much farther away. But Yeshaya says, Shemu Shamayim, Hazini Aretz. You know? So this is just wonderful, the way in which the description is of what is farther, what is closer. And so Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to do something extraordinary in this Sedra. He has given legal, first his complaint about the people. He's saying, I'm giving you now my record, my curriculum vitae. There I was with you in the Midbar, and we had these solas and those solas. And now I'm going to tell you my last will and testament, as it were. And now he has spent a lot of time in detail. And now he wants to say something that'll be what you would call the klalim. You have pratim, you have klalim. And how would he encode the klalim? And this is amazing because they say, Mimoshe ad Moshe lakom kemoshe. From Moshe Rabbeinu bis Moshe ben Maimon lo kam kemoshe. So that's the same. So, but Moshe Rabbeinu is more poet than the Rambam in this case. So he is putting into poetry where you can encode things denser. The whole book of Dvarim. And I remember one of my teachers, Rabbi Simpson, had his children learn the Shira Hazinu by heart, because that's why he was saying, Moshe Rabbeinu says, teach this to the children. And when he comes with I like the Hey HaShe'elah to be like in Spanish, where you put in the beginning the question mark, and also in the end. And so he says, Ladonai tigmulu zot.
Yeah.
Because usually you read the ha as a short one, but because I think it's with the Chatuf Patach. Hala Hashem tigmulu zot,
It's a shortcut of hello.
Yeah. But I like to give it the ha. No. Ha yotcha. Afar yagid amitecha, it's like it comes with this kind of a vorwurf. How would you translate?
Reproach.
Huh?
Reproach.
A reproach. It has that kind of, yeah. So I'm sure to tell you the right thing. Okay. So in Hazinu, he puts it together in a very dense way. And tomorrow is going to be the day of Bina, so it gives us a chance to loosen up what comes to ask Moshe Rabbeinu, what did you encode for me in this Sedra Hazinu?
So it's like distilling the principles?
Yeah, that's what klalim is. So when he starts to say, Zechor yemot olam, binu shnot dor v'dor, the first sedra of the Varim is already included in that, When he says, that's what he said, at the Zahav, at the Balpur, all the places where he was. So, I tell you what, would you do me a favor?
Yeah,
and take the other chair and sit over there, so
It's
I
too
don't have to
confusing.
do this, because it's hard on my
I can
neck.
sit here. It's good?
Here's good, yes.
Okay.
It's the same
I'll
situation.
be Rabbi Yair.
Right. It'll be hard to
I can
get
sit
up
over
from
there.
that
I
one.
just was afraid I would be in the way if people come in. So I'll just sit on this
I
side.
don't know if we'll get people.
I don't think so. Then I can always get up.
It's comfortable here.
He knows what's comfortable.
Okay, if they come in, they'll have to pass through you. So we'll find out. Halavai, they should come in. So, at this point, I'd like you to try something with me it was so wonderful to be in both places when the leaders were giving meditations to follow, the Sha'ar the first night there, and then later on yesterday to be there with Reb Tirza, where she took us to the spring and so on and so forth. It was just wonderful. So I'd like you to try something. I think we've done this once before, but I wish that people would learn it more. Okay, so if you can give this over to other people, and that's going to be important here too. And I want to start, instead of starting on top, I'll start on the bottom. So if we say that we are made B'Tselem Elokim, and you take Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey as being the silhouette, that's why I like to say Tselem is silhouette. If you remember, they used to have at the various fairs, see people who could make a good silhouette. They did it with scissors and black, and it was very lovely, that kind of a thing. And when I think of that, because Tselem, in this way that it is, it means sail-like. You see, the mem is this kind of enclitic mem. It sort of makes it an adjective in it. Okay, so you say chinam, rekam, and then the same kind of a mem. Okay. So if you go into that Tselem Elokim and you start on the bottom, and there's Eish Mayim, Eish Ruach Mayim Afar, so the bottom is Afar. So what is the afar of a human being? It's a skeleton. Okay? So after you make a note, I want you to close your eyes and see the Yud Hey Vav Hey in the skeleton. Okay? No, that's going to make it a samach. You want to make it a hey.
I have to stand up for that.
No, you can do it in your mind. You sit where how you like, okay? All right. I could hear the music of hip bone is connected to the bone is connected to the bone, bone to bone, and you see how this goes. Okay, now imagine if you were to color that, and you'd color that black. By right, it would be light gray, but you'd color that skeleton black. Okay. All right, now we're gonna go to Mayim. And we start looking at all the liquid stuff that goes through the body, the liquid system. It has veins, and there's the blue ones, and there's the red ones, and you can see it in the body, and then there's also the lymph, and there's the spinal fluid, and there's the brain bath fluid, and all these fluids are in here, and you see them now. And let's say you color them blue, and you leave red if you want, and you can also leave white for the lymph and the other. It's so wonderful when people say we are made of 75% to 80% water, and you see all this liquid inside of you, and that is the bottom, that's the Vav, okay? And if you look at Vav in the sense where with the Lulav we are going into 6 directions, right? So the Vav means spreading out from Tiferet going to Chesed and Gvur, Netzach and Hod, to Yesod and Malchut. All that goes from, and that's the Vav, yeah? Okay. And now you add to that everywhere air goes. Now don't forget also that the pores are breathing. Okay? And see the lungs and see how blood is carrying that around the body too.
What color?
Hmm?
What color do we go for?
That of course, that color should be yellow or something like
Yellow.
this. Yeah. Or make it orange better, because we need yellow for the Aish. And you know how it fills it in. Even in the capillaries, there's there's liquid, and underneath the skin, and the various kinds of glands, and all the way down to the mitochondria. It's pretty. It pervades it. Okay. And now we're going to go to Aish, and in Aish we're going to see the neural network. Okay? And you see a big clump up in the head, and how the neural network spreads itself again over the whole body, like a tree coming out from the head through the spine, and going into the arms and branches, into the legs and branches and toes, and all over the body, and so to the sensitivity of skin, which is also connected to that. And that you would color in yellow. So now you go back to the beginning of that, and begin to impose one on top of the other, okay? Mm-hmm. So here I'm going to go to the skeleton first. And to the water body now, and I can see the skeleton, I can see the water body sort of intertwined. And on top of that, I now put the air body. And now you put on top of that the neural highway. And now put on top of that the vitality that's in them. And that becomes now very dynamic. And now put on top of that emotion, which is a remarkable thing, that from all these physical levels through the energetic level, we can now come to a feeling level. And how that suffuses the body, and together with the energy body, is shining outside of the skin. And now on top of that, you put all the possibilities in mind, cognitive, conceptual. Okay, that's enough for the time being. So what we have done is the Tselem Elokim up all the way up to Neshama. If you want to go to Chaya Yechida, then we have another work to do. But we first have to get really well acquainted with doing this one up and down. And I feel that if that could be one of the preparations for davening, so that one could then say Kol Atzmotai, and Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Olam She'asani Be'Tzalmo, and even before you say that bracha, to go ahead and to do that. And you do it a few times that it gets to be easier. The pathways get set up and you can do it easier. So I wanted to share that about these 4 levels.
So,
Now, a couple of things on Sukkot. Any questions up to now?
so the afar is the nefesh?
Pardon?
The afar, the bottom, is the nefesh?
No. I'm saying after we have done Afar and Mayim and Ruach and Eish, on top of that we have Nefesh,
Oh, on top of that.
which is the animation.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that we have Ruach, which is the emotion, the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that you have the mind. And that gets really vast and almost gets to a place that's non-local, because it can be so many places at that point. It's no longer hooked. And so a couple of things, if a person were to be able to do this exercise while they're still pretty in good shape, then when the time comes to die, there'll be an understanding of how this is just the Eish, Mayim, and Ruach and Afar that I'm leaving behind. And the Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama is the place where I continue to live. Okay? So, okay, that's enough for right now, and I want to move over to Sukkot. So the word Sukkah has a gematria of 92.
92, 91.
91? Should be 91, you're right. It's the same gematria as Adonai,
Plus Yud.
Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud, right?
Plus Yud. Hey,
Plus Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, right? And it's the same gematria as Machal.
Is what?
Machal, food,
Oh, really?
I
yeah.
should eat it.
And Ruth Leben, if you could do me a favor, in that little room there where the chairs usually are, there's a booklet there called Yishmaru Da'at. You go to the right and there's turn around, there's a switch there, okay? And I'd like to read some of the stuff to you. About that thing about B'Tselem Elokim from before, there's a posuk and a kapitel tilim that I'd like to bring to your attention. It's Kuf Lamed Tes, 139 in the Tehillim. I'll read it to you slowly, first in Hebrew, then in English. Lamnatseach לדוד מזמור, אדוני חקרתני ותדע. אתה ידעת שבתי וקומי, בנת לראי לרעיוני מרחוק. אורכי ורבעי, הדרך והמקום שאני רובץ ורבעי ושכב עליו, זרית וכל דרכי הסכנת. הסכנת like סוכנות. Okay. כי אין מילה בלשוני, הן אדוני ידעתי כולה. אחור וקדם צרתני, ותשת עלי כפיך, ותשת עלי כפיך. פליה, דעת ממני, פליה דעת ממני. העניין נפלא מדעתו, אי אפשר לי להבין את זה. נשגבה, לא אוכל לה להבין. אנא אלך מרוחך, ואנא מפניך אברח. אם עסק שמיים שם אתה, ואציע שאול הנקה. עשה חנפי שחר אשכנה באחרית ים. So he has Mizrach and Ma'araf there. גם שם ידך תנחני, ותאחזני ימיניך. ואומר, אך חושך ישופני, יטוב לי, שפי בשפי, כן? ולילה אור בדני, גם חושך לא יחשך ממך, ולילה כיום יאיר, כחשיך כאורה. כי אתה קנית חיליותי, תסוכני בבטן אמי, again סוכנותיה. עודך על כי נוראות נפלאתי. This is the one posuk that I was going to with this Tselem Elokim meditation, you know.
Can you read it again?
עודך כי נוראות נפלאתי, נפלאים מעשיך ונפשי ידעת מאוד. לא נקחק עוצמי ממך, העצמות שלי, yes, I'm transparent, אשר עשיתי, נעשיתי, בסתר, רוקמתי, embroidered like, בתחתיות ארז, גולמי ראו עיניך, ועל ספרך כולם יכתבו, ימים יוצרו, ולא אחד בהם. ולי, מה יקרו רעיך, שאתה חבר שלי, אל מי עצמו ראשיהם, אספרים מכל ירבון, הקיצותי ועודי עמך. אם תקטול אלוה רשע, ואנשי דם ימסור ממני, אשר יאמרוך למזימן, נסו לשווא עריך, הלא משנאך אני, אדוני אשנא, ובתקוממך את קוטט. Such an image here. He's fighting a fist fight with the people against the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? Tachlit sina sinetim la'oivim hayuli. And then he goes back and says, he makes himself transparent. Chakreni el, v'da levavi, b'chaneni v'da sarafai, hamachshavot sheli, ha'achalomot sheli. Ure'ei, im derech otzev bi, unecheni b'derech olam. It's a wonderful, wonderful post. I'm going to read you now the English of that. Yeah, you scanned me and discerned me. You know when I'm relaxed or agitated. From afar you comprehend my fantasies. You design my conduct and my repose, orchi v'rivi. You direct my path so I can manage. Before my mouth opens, you know what I'm about to say. You have shaped my past and my future. your hand gently on my shoulder. This awes my awareness. It's beyond my skill to fathom. Where to can I withdraw from your spirit, flee from facing you? If I would mount up to heaven, there are you. If I make my bed in hell, you're there too. Soaring on the wings of the dawn to find shelter in the setting sun, it would be your hand that would carry me, your hand holding me safe. If I want to find oblivion in darkness, trading light for darkness, to you it still wouldn't be dark. Night is as bright as day for you, and dark and light the same in your sight. You have designed my innards, shaped me in my mother's womb. I'm overcome with thanks for your awesome wonders, your astonishing works of which my soul is aware. My essence isn't hidden from you, who have made me in concealment, who have knitted me beneath the surface. Your eyes have seen me as an embryo, my days all inscribed in your ledger, days not yet shaped, yet each one of them counted. How precious are your stirrings in me, O God. How powerful their impact, I can't number them beyond all sand grains. When I emerge from my reflection, I'm still with you. If you, God, would only rid us from our evil, if only cruelty would disappear and defiance from you vanish, forgiveness overtaking enmity. I detest hatred of you, Yah. Quarrelsomeness repels me. I loathe hostility to the utmost. God, I open myself to your scrutiny. Know what's in my heart. Examine and know my longings. See and remove any defiance from me, and guide me in the way that serves for your intent on earth. It's such a wonderful kapitel Tilim, you know. So I would suggest when you are in a teaching situation, you might just, it opens up people in such a way, and they aren't even aware that that's in the Tehillim. And now we're going to go back to Sukkot. So we said that Sukkot is a gematria Havai Adni, and that it is the gematria of Machal, and not much more. Okay. And it's also the day after all the four letters of the name are together. And that brings you to the place that you can say Rishon lecheshbon avonot, because up to that point, how would I say, the 4 days after Yom Kippur, the registry of sin isn't set up yet, you know? And beginning with Sukkot, it is. The good mazel that we have is that when it begins is also the time for Avram Avinu. And he is a good, he takes good care of us, okay? So one of the things that you find about Sukkot is that it has something to do with schach. And schach has to do with covering. And that's where the sukkah schach is related to each other, and related to shalom. And then we use the word ufros aleinu sukkot shalomecha, so it has a sense of when you say it on Friday night, you don't mean that there should be picking up a sukkah and dropping on top of you. So it's clear from the context that means something abstract. So ask yourself then, what does it mean when you say Sukkah Shalom is descending on me? Go ahead, say something.
What? It's abstract, but at the same time.
Louder, please.
It's what?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's abstract.
Yeah.
Abstract. Abstract, not obstruct.
No, I don't mean to say abstract. It's you think of schach
Yeah,
as something that covers,
right.
obstructs, yeah, but it's at the same time we know that the schach is we can see through it, so it's an opposite here. And we
Yeah.
have in Hebrew also sacha or
It
like
is it's
iska,
permeable.
permeable.
That's
Exactly.
right.
So it's like the same word has exactly the opposite meanings. Like Sarah was called Iska. Iska, it's also the Samech Kaf Hey.
Yeah.
The visionary.
Yeah.
Sarah was the visionary. So the word Sukkah has in it the two meanings. One is to cover.
It covers and you
one
can
is
look
to
through.
reveal.
Very good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've ever had, I had once bought a pair of glasses that weren't glasses, but that had pinholes in the black thing, and pinholes are what gives you a deeper depth of vision. So so that the eye, I tried them for a while. So it didn't do me many favors. It drove me crazy to see there's so much dark in front, but I could understand why it does that. And if you need a sharper vision, and you also need to have it reduced from the power of the light, so sukkah is very good for that. All right, so but when you on an emotional feeling place, yeah, imagine you need to run into the Sukkot Shalom to feel safe, but
Gathered.
huh?
I would feel like I'm
Right.
being gathered.
A warm, protecting thing. So here it goes. Ki yitzbeneni besukkah.
Gathered.
Yeah.
Sukkot, yeah. Ki is not in some.
You hide me in your sukkah on a foul day. Yitzbeneni besukkah b'yom ra'ah.
Protect.
You conceal me unseen in your tent and raise me also beyond anyone's reach. That kind of safety, a sanctuary.
Like a refuge.
That's right. Yeah. So it has that feeling, okay? Now, if you were to ask, what would sukkah mean in terms of a higher madrega, in the mental? We talked about sukkah, about one of the things on the mental thing is that you see through and it covers, but there's other stuff there too. When you say
Inclusiveness?
yeah, an expansion for all the narrow thing. There's an expansion. There's another thing. How do you feel about the people with whom you sit in the sukkah?
Yeah.
You love them, There is a sense of such fellowship there in the sukkah that Aaron HaKohen is very happy to be an ushpiza of that thing. And Avram Avinu is happy because people get invited to the sukkah and so on and so forth. So you get that feeling. There is another level that is still greater. And that has to do with the Anane HaKavod. You see, there's Rav and Shmuel who are having an argument. One is the one who sees it very concrete, and he says, Basukot Teshu Shivat Yamim. Why? Ki besukot hoshafti et bnei Yisrael, b'otziyotam eretz Mitzrayim. So besukot hoshafti. So I think Rav says, no, Shmuel says, Sukkos mamish. Shmuel was a person who knew the ways of the stars. He was sort of the scientist of that. It says about Shmuel that he knew the ways of the stars, like the Shvilin in the Har-Di, the town where he was leading the yeshiva. And Rav, on the other hand, was going higher. So he was saying, no. Besukot Heshafti et Bnei Yisrael is it's a symbol.
Metaphor?
It's a metaphor is the word I was looking for. It's a metaphor for the Anane HaKavod, that by day they covered us from the heat of the sun in the desert, and by night they were the pillar of cloud. And how did and it says the Be'er Shel Miriam was in schus of Miriam. The man was in schus of Moshe. And the Anan and Yaakov were in schus
Aaron?
of Aaron. Yeah, that leaves only one left. So one of the rabbis said,
It's not.
how did that happen? So he says like this, there's a statement in the Gemara that when two people like each other, there goes up a hevel, like a steam between them, you know? So Aaron HaKohen was constantly going around to make people like each other, you know? So there was so much steam going up that it created the Anane HaKavod.
Who said that?
Huh?
Who said it?
I think one of the children of the Rishon Rebbe, and I don't remember if it's the Chotkav or the Sadagera who said that. Okay? Yeah. It's a very lovely teaching because you have a sense of what is Hinem Atov U'Manayim for many people. And that covers the same situation, you know. When it's dark, it gives me light. When there's too much light, the Ananim take care of that. Then there's another thing about Anan that's important. In Avot de Rabbi Natan, he says, Moshe nitkadesh ba'anan. When Moshe is going up for the 40 days, he enters into the cloud. And that wonderful book, The Cloud of Unknowing, you know, medieval Christian text. Very, very beautiful. It has a sense of how Emunah takes you in to that cloud. You don't see where you're going and so on and so forth, and yet you feel you're in an okay situation. So I tell you a story. I was in 66, I think. Maybe a little earlier. I was invited to come to the B'nai B'rith. I was Hillel director, has to do with B'nai B'rith. So B'nai B'rith asked me to come and do weekends. So I had a chance to do weekends with a wonderful group of other people. One was Rabbi Adler from Detroit. The other one was Rabbi, from England. He wrote so many wonderful books. His name escapes me at this moment. He was sort of moved toward more conservative than anyway. So he was there. There were some other people there. And there was a guy who had a private plane in Dallas, and we had to go now from Dallas to San Antonio. So he picked us up in on the airplane, in Mineral Wells, Texas, and flew us to Hunt, you know. So it was a wonderful thing. We sat in that plane, and on the side, he had a bunch of books, the pilot man. He was a meteorologist in Dallas, and for him, the flight, that was his private plane, and it was wonderful to offer us this ride. Despite the fact that I had a ticket, I wanted to fly with him. So he takes us up, he has a bunch of books there, there's no traffic up there, and he shows me that when you're on track, it goes beep, 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 beep. You're off track, it goes beep, 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 beep. So, and so you check in from where you're leaving, you tell the other station where you're going, and you set up the coordinates and shine. Now he doesn't have to do anything, it's on autopilot and it's a gate. And a whole bunch of books on the side that he would sometimes read when he would fly this way because it gets boring. Okay? We come to a big cloud thing, and he says, should I steer around the cloud or go through the cloud? I said, please, let's go through the cloud. I want to be in the cloud of unknowing. And here, you know that the plane is flying, you can't see a thing. It's all this sort of whitish stuff around, and it looks like it's standing still, you know? And it's such a wonderful sense. It makes you feel sort of strange about being in this thing. Am I moving? And I don't see what's going on. My paranoia comes in. I have to let go and surrender that too, and say, there's no one in the air. We checked beforehand. There's no traffic. We're going straight. It's okay. Yeah, but I don't see where I'm going. So it was wonderful. So there we were in that cloud. And I think that that's the part of Sukkah that gets still higher than the Ushpizin and the understandings that go with Sukkah. Okay. So it says that Moshe nitkadesh be'anan. So Moshe goes, before he goes up to receive Torah, he has to go and be sanctified in the Anan. The thing that I get comes out like Star Trek, you know. He's standing on the transporter, and yeah.
And what I'm getting is you have to totally be with the unknown for it to happen. Totally.
It's so
No coordinates that you have.
Nothing.
The good thing is that I felt a seat under me. But imagine if I were to be in free flight in such a space that I can't see or hear or anything, and I don't know whether I'm moving or not, you know. And who knows what the next surprise will be for me, you know. So it's a remarkable place. Okay. So in the Zohar, he keeps saying that Sukkot has to do with Tzila de Mehemenuta. You are in the shadow of faith. You are under the protection of faith. And you can imagine how it must have been for people to make those lean-tos on the way through the desert each time, to set them up, to Vayisu, Vayachnu, Vayisu, Vayachnu. And now you look at the people who are survivors of the earthquake and of the storm. You have a sense of the other day on the radio, some people had a piece of cardboard that was their home to sleep under. And I've seen that on the sidewalks of Bombay, where people have just, an old refrigerator carton is where they live in. So it's very hard, and yet to believe that being under those circumstances is good for you because you're moving to something better. It takes faith for doing that. So that's what I like about the issue here of Sukkot. So if you look on page 17, that we did before. So Sukkot is Yaakov, and so we are now on page 21. In the middle of the page, Uve Sukkot me'ira sfirat tiferet b'chinat Yaakov Allah Shalom, concerning whom the Chumash says, V'limiknehu asar Sukkot. V'ha'ushpizin ilayin ba'im b'chol zayin yemei ha'binyan. Zayin yemei ha'binyan. What is it that you're building? Binyan ha'malchut. That's what's happening. Az nitgadel Yaakov liYisrael Saba. ואז כל הספירות, דזעיר אנפין נעשים מרכבה לתפארת, ונכנסים תחת צילה דמהימנותא. That needs explaining a little bit, okay? I can speak of Tiferet as being one of the Sfirot, but when Tiferet is in the full presence, then the other Sfirot, Chesed, Gvur, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod, are in harmony with that. They strengthen the presence of Tiferet, and that becomes Yisrael Saba. So all the Sfirot become a Merkava for Tiferet. And they enter in the Tzila de Behemenuta. Why is that? She'emunan nichnesa memakiv lepnimi. As is Basukot, makiv, teishvu v'hityashvu bepnimiyet. Shivat Yamim, which is now Ze'eran Pino Malchus, which is Havai ve'adni, b'gematria 91, b'gematria Sukkah Machal, and stop. If I ask if the year begins on Rosh Hashanah, and I'm inducting some people into my army, what do I want to do? First, I want to find out, are they willing to serve, And they're inducted in the army, and that's Rosh Hashanah. And then I have to make sure that whatever karmic record they have, they don't schlep it with themselves.
Yom Kippur.
Because, I don't want them to come with any bad debts and stuff like that, or that later on they'll say they weren't vetted right, as they come out. So they're now clear. And now they're getting the uniform. Each day they get another piece of the uniform of the 4 days. Now there's the lulav and the esrog that come with the sukkah. We're going to get to that in a moment. And they're now entering into the sukkah, and they're inducted there. Right. And each day of the 7 days, they get another piece. They get the bayonet on one day, they get the gun on another day, they get a sword on another day. You get the idea? They get what they need in order to be able to traverse the year every day. And so now they are already outfitted for the year. And I think that sense of knowing that we are being outfitted for the year during Sukkot with Simchas Torah and beginning with Bereshit, is like when it really starts for us, because by that time we have already been inducted, we have been trained, we have been, gotten all the klizayin that we need. And Skulat HaEmunah Shel Sukkot mevia lischus, liskot, lematar shebezchut Atalia. And from now on, it isn't anymore that you're going to get anything for nothing. Now it is totally your merit that's going to get it for you. You can't complain. You got your outfit, you got everything, got your training, you're ready for the year. And this is what you have to now do. So from therefore, whereas Pesach, we are still little children and we have to be fed, and everything comes from tal that has nothing to do with whether we earned it or not. Now it comes, mi shetarach be'erev Shabbat yochal b'Shabbat. You can say, mi shetarach b'kayitz yochal b'choref, וכדי לזכות לאותו זכות של אדם, על האדם לקחת על עצמו אחריות על חיי עצמו. והאמונה מחזיקה בו להאמין ולהרגיש זאת במוחש, בשבתו בסוכה, והבא לטהר מסעין לו, ובסוכות נזכר שהוא אחראי, כי הסוכות ראשון לחשבון עוונות. Okay, got it up to here? Mm-hmm. Okay. ומצוות דלת מינים גם כן מורה על עץ חיים בתיקונו. Which is, there's Za and Nukva, meaning the masculine and the feminine, B'yichud B'yadav. Who are they? Gimel Hadassim Achesed Gur Tiferet, Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. Beit Badei Ha'arava, Anetzach and Hod, Moshe and Yaakov. Halulav Yosef is the lulav that stands up, is Yesod. V'ha'etrog Prinot Rechem, like the womb, Malchus. והמנענע אותם מתחיל בחזה, אותו המקום אשר מכה בו בווידוי. Right. מקום בגוף שמרגיש אחריות. Okay? So you get that. והמנענע בכל לבבך בבית יצריך יכול לומר, בכל לבבך בשני יצריך. Why do you need to have שני יצריך here? Because I wanted to make sure that people will understand the sexuality of Sukkot in this way. Okay, Lulav Esrik in this way. So it has to have, both of these things are being given to the Rebbeinu Shalom in all 6 directions, you know. Mizrach do, Mariv do, Tzofen do. And then he can say, Ani mamid be'emunah shalema shemimkor rachmei Hashem yisborach aleinu. Nuchal mitoch simcha la'agbiya levaveinu b'darkei Hashem, because it's Yom Zman Simchatenu, ula'agia mekatnut Yaakov legadlut Yisrael, Saba, ועל ידי מעשינו זוך ימנו להמשיך שפע רב בכל העולמות, כי נתעוררים בנו האושפיזין אליין, ובעבורם אל תמנע מים. Do you know that last phrase, בעבורם אל תמנע מים? From Geshem, right. Okay, so
it's also the Simchat Beit HaShoeva.
That's right. That's right.
That every morning, I'm checking it. Every morning there is some kind of a...
They usually do that at the evening.
In the evening, some kind of a ritual.
They would go and bring the water, and then in the evening there would be the Simchat Beit HaShoeva. And the Gemara tells about how I think it was Reb Shimon ben Gamliel or Rab Gamliel, who used to be able to juggle 8 torches, burning torches. You know, it was like it was a how would you say that, a fair, like a fair around the Temple Mountain with all the people. Well, you know, I don't know exactly how it was with the Romans around and so on and so forth, how much of that was what they wrote they would have liked to have and so on and so forth, but the Simchat Beit HaShoeva was great. So at Mei HaSharim there's a pletzel, like a big courtyard, around which are the Karliner and all kinds of different Hasidim. And you go there in Simchat Beit HaShoeva, and in every place they have highly amplified klezmer playing while the Hasidim are dancing. And it's so amazing. You come in and you see this guy with a fiddle, and on the fiddle he has a microphone. You know, it should really make it loud. And another guy has a garboshka, you know, an accordion, and drums. Drums are really, they're happy about drums these days. So it's a lot of simcha that's there. Okay, so I just want to share that. Now we gotta go. We got just a few minutes left. I brought in a lulav and an esrog dried out, of course, and want to illustrate a little bit about how we might go about with the nanuim. Okay. So you hold it with a shedra to you, with the spine, and here,
The sharp part?
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and here you put in the willow, and the 2 willows are on the outside, and the two hadassim are on each side of that, but closer to the lulav. And in the center, there's a hadassah in the center that turns toward the right a little bit, okay? Showing that Tiferet should go toward Chesed, okay? And, you have those koishalach, where you put in the various things, but I always do it in one of them and make sure that all of them can touch the lulav. So let's say I'm facing Mizrach now, okay? And that's how we start. There are many ways, but that's the one that I've taken from Chabad and works best for me, okay? So it's always back to the heart. When I see some people go like this in shul, I feel it's silly, in order, if this is not a shamanic thing, then I don't know what's a shamanic thing, So, and then you go the same thing to the left. So Yamin, so you first go, you're facing Mizrach, so this is south, this is north, then forward, east, then upward, then down, but you don't turn the lulav down. You go down like this again to the heart, okay? And then you go backwards to Marav, and you don't turn around until the very last time in Hallel, when you say the last Hodol Hashem ki tov ki lo lam chazdo, then you turn around this way. But otherwise you do it over the shoulder. Okay?
Three times in each direction?
Pardon?
3 times in each direction?
In each direction, right. That was so wonderful when I was in Rio for that summit. And they gave me 6 minutes. I think I told you about that, yeah? They gave me only 6 minutes to be able to do something about Judaism. So I came with a lulav that's easy to find in Rio. I couldn't find hadassim. Aroves I was able to find. They grow everywhere there's water, So then I got some other plants that were there. And I'd found an esrog a couple of days before that, big citron, but it had rotted at that point, and I couldn't use it. So I got a papaya instead.
Did it work?
Huh?
Did it work?
Oh, I believe it worked, yes. I mean, for the drama itself, it worked, It was so wonderful. I told the people, we are going to pray for the welfare of the earth. And I will shake this in all directions 3 times. And Eve and Nilton Boulder were there with a shofar, and each time, I finished in any direction, they blew the shofar.
So you gave a real shamanic representation of
Pardon?
Judaism, huh? So in the 6 minutes, you gave them a shamanic representation of Judaism.
That's right. And I asked them each at the same time to pray in their language when I was saying Ana Hashem Hoshiana. That they should say Kyrie eleison, Señor, ten piedad de nosotros, whatever was their thing to say. And and it was so wonderful. They all, they did so. It was a geschrei, lots of people in their own language doing that. And then the blowing of the shofar. It was very, very special. And I asked, before I started, I asked Melchizedek to come into my body. Because you needed to have not Arna Cohen, but somebody earlier, Melech Shalom, Vehu Cohen Le'el Elyon, to have him come and do that. Any questions about Sukkot yet?
I have a question about Hoshana Rabbah.
Yeah.
What should I do? What should I prepare? When do we
I would
start?
say just the best thing that you can prepare for people is coffee. There should be some, if you can borrow chumashim in English
Okay.
with a good English translation, and they should all be the same, you know. And because I'd like to have a reading of the Sefer Dvarim, the whole Sefer Dvarim.
Wow.
That's what they did on Hoshana Rabbah?
Yeah.
But what about the willows?
Well, for that we have to go beforehand on Sundays.
We have a willow tree in the garden.
You do. So you snip about branches this much, and we'll have to find you an old lulav. I'll give you an old lulav now, so that we can have the lulav things to bind them together. And then everybody's going to bind their Hoshana there, and then I'll be there around 4 o'clock in the morning.
You will come around 4?
Yeah.
So we're talking Monday morning.
That's got to be Monday morning, but I think I want people to have the mishbar throughout the night.
So
Maybe
we
I'll
start
be
at
there.
sundown?
Huh?
We start at sundown.
No, you can start at 10 o'clock, even 9:30, 10 o'clock. People come after they've eaten, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll have to work out, you know, who's going to start it off.
Yeah. So the grocers will be there, and Meira said she wants to teach something.
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
So
But the reading has to be the ikar.
you want us to read before you come?
Well, I don't know whether we could finish. If I'm there 4 o'clock, and davening won't be until 7. Okay, I'll keep it for me. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But make sure there got to be some. You know, when I was reading this once for Reb Dvorah and Reb Tirza and Eve in Hebrew, it was really very powerful. Va'et Hanan el Adonai ba'et ha'ilemo, you know.
It's an amazing book.
Yeah. Okay.
Speechable.
So we didn't sing a niggin today, so let's see what the sukkistic a niggin. ושמחת בחגיך, ושמחת בחגיך, והיית אך שמח. ושמחת בחגיך, ושמחת בחגיך, והיית אך שמח. ושמחת בחגיך, היית אך שמח. אך, 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 אך. ושמחת בחגיך, והיית אך, 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 אך. וריגותי לכם ברכה עד בלי די, עד בלי די, עד בלי די, עד בלי די, 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 די. עד שיבלו שפתותיכם יהיה לומר די, די, די. עד שיבלו שפתותיכם יהיה לומר די, די, די. אללה סלה הוך הוך, אללה סלה הוך הוך הוך, אללה סלה הוך הוך ויצאו מים, אללה סלה הוך הוך, אללה סלה הוך הוך הוך, אללה סלה הוך הוך ויצאו מים. Ya da ya da dan dan da dan dan da dan dan da dan ai dan dan da dan dan di dan di da din da 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 ai da ya da dan dan di dan 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 da dan dan di dan di da dan dan di da dan dan di da din da dam. There's more, but I can't remember them all. The Sukkot has a lot of good nigunim. Okay, done.